Let me tell you a harsh truth. If you died tomorrow, 99% of the world wouldn't even blink. And do you know why? Because you're not rich, you're not powerful, and you're not relevant. In a world that runs on money, value, and influence, if you don't have them, you're invisible. That's reality. And pretending otherwise is the fastest way to stay broke and forgotten. Money is power, and anyone who tells you otherwise is either lying or broke. In the real world, the language of influence is wealth. You could be the kindest person alive, the most talented, the most skilled, but if you're broke, you're invisible. Nobody listens to the man who can't pay his bills. Nobody takes orders from someone who can't control his own life. Money is the measuring stick. It's the scoreboard in the game of life. You could be a genius, but if you're not stacking cash, the world sees you as a failure. You walk into a room and people judge you before you even speak, based on how you look, what you drive, what you wear, how you move. That's how this game works. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start playing to win. You think you're entitled to respect just because you're a good person. That's the biggest delusion society sells you. You're respected when you bring value. You're respected when you hold power. You're respected when your bank account makes noise. People don't line up to hear the thoughts of a broke man. They don't care how deep your soul is if you can't back it with results. Money talks. Money opens doors. Money protects you, elevates you, and sets you apart. Without it, you're just another voice in the crowd. You're replaceable, disposable, forgotten the moment you stop showing up. But with it, you become someone they can't ignore. You become someone they talk about even when you leave the room. Power isn't in words, it's in control. And money gives you control. It gives you the ability to say no, to walk away, to live life by your own rules instead of dancing for crumbs. When you're rich, you don't beg, you don't compromise, you don't shrink to fit into someone else's version of success. You create your own. You set the pace. You choose who's allowed into your circle, and you dictate the term. That's not arrogance, it's reality. The rich shape the world because they own their time, their freedom, and their future. Everyone's out here pretending money doesn't matter while secretly praying for a raise, stressing over bills, and living paycheck to paycheck. That's not peace. That's survival, and survival mode is where dreams go to die. You can't build an empire when you're constantly trying to stay afloat. You can't chase greatness when you're chained to financial stress. Money removes that weight. It gives you room to think bigger, move faster, and strike harder. It fuels your purpose, your mission, your legacy. It makes people pay attention. It makes them take you seriously. You ever notice how people treat you differently when they think you have money? It's immediate. The respect goes up. The fake smiles appear. Suddenly you're important. That's how programmed the world is. They worship what they fear and respect what they can't touch. Money is the armor that keeps you untouchable. Without it, you're always vulnerable, always on defense, always begging for opportunities instead of creating them. And the worst part? You'll die with your potential still locked inside, all because you didn't want to accept that money is the key to unlocking the life you want. So stop pretending you're above it. Stop saying it doesn't matter, because it does. And deep down, you already know that. The question is, are you going to do something about it? Time isn't your friend. It's not patiently waiting for you to figure life out. It's the most ruthless opponent you'll ever face, and it's killing you every second. You can't buy it back. You can't beg it for more. And once it's gone forever. That's the reality people run from. They waste their youth thinking there's always tomorrow. They sleep in like life's a vacation. They scroll for hours like they've already won. But the truth is, every second you waste puts you behind. Every lazy hour is someone else's grind time. While you're watching garbage online, someone out there is building his empire brick by brick, turning his pain into power, turning his minutes into millions. And when you finally wake up, he's already miles ahead, and you're left playing catch up in a race you didn't train for. The system loves when you think you have time. It feeds you lies like slow down, take it easy, enjoy the moment, just to keep you numb, soft, distracted. But the clock is real, it's ticking, and it doesn't care how you feel. The man who understands time becomes dangerous. He doesn't waste it on things that don't move him forward. He doesn't argue over nonsense. He doesn't explain himself to people who don't matter. He doesn't live in yesterday's guilt or tomorrow's fantasy. He's in the now, making moves, stacking wins, building a future no one can take from him. Because he knows time is the currency of life, and once you waste it, you're broke forever. Look around. How many people are living the same year over and over again, calling it life? Same job, same problem, same excuses. Why? Because they think they have time to fix it later. But later is a lie. Later becomes never. And while they wait, life passes them by. Their dreams rot in the back of their minds, buried under comfort and delay. Meanwhile, the killers, the ones who treat time like a weapon, are out there owning everything. They're not smarter than you. They're not more gifted. They're just more aware that the clock is a ticking bomb, and every second wasted is a second closer to losing it all. You weren't born to play it safe. You weren't born to live average. You've got a window to make it happen, and it's closing. Every breath you take is proof that your time is running out. What are you doing with it? Are you building something? Are you becoming someone? Or are you stuck in loops that keep you weak, distracted, and broke? You want to get rich? You want to be remembered? Then stop wasting time. Get up earlier, cut the dead weight, cancel the comfort, make every second serve your mission. Because if you don't, someone else will. And when you finally realize you shouldn't move faster, it'll be too late. The truth is brutal. No one is coming to save you. No mentor, no parent, no partner. This is on you. You either use your time like a weapon or watch it destroy your potential. There is no middle ground. There is no safe zone. It's war, and the battlefield is the clock. Win or get wiped out. Move or be replaced. Every second counts. Every minute is a choice. You can waste it like the masses or master it like the elite. That's the difference between being remembered and being forgotten, between building an empire and living in regret. Time doesn't care who you are. It only cares what you do. Legacy isn't built on feelings, intentions, or excuses. It's built on cold, hard results. When you're gone, no one's going to talk about what you tried to do. They're going to remember what you actually did. The world doesn't care about your story unless there's a victory at the end of it. All the pain you've gone through, all the sacrifices, all the grind, none of it matters if you don't finish the job. That's the harsh truth people don't want to hear. They think being busy means they're productive. They think struggling gives them credit. But struggle without success is just wasted suffering. You don't get legacy points for effort. You get remembered because you won. Go ahead and look at history. Look at the names etched into time. These people weren't remembered because they were nice. They weren't honored because they gave excuses. They dominated, they built, they led, they left results. And now the world can't forget them. That's how legacy works. You can either leave behind proof you existed, or you can disappear like you never mattered. That's the choice. Every single day, you're either writing your legacy in action or erasing it through comfort and delay. It's binary, win or lose, build or fade. People love to glorify the grind, but most are grinding in circles. They're working hard, but not working smart. They confuse motion with progress. They do just enough to feel tired, but not enough to create real change. That's not how you become unforgettable. That's how you become exhausted and irrelevant. You want to leave something behind? You want your name to mean something long after you're gone? Then stop confusing activity with results. Stop justifying your stagnation with stories. Stories don't get you remembered, results do. You think the world's gonna remember the guy who almost made it, who could have been great? No. They remember the man who broke through, who got the job done, who didn't stop until there was nothing left to prove. That's who they talk about. That's who they study, and that's who gets to live forever through impact. If you're not chasing results, you're wasting breath, all the emotions, all the doubt, all the insecurity. Burn it, channel it, turn it into action. Because the only thing that separates legends from the forgotten is the ability to get things done when it matters. Excuses are what the poor and weak use to justify why they're not where they should be. It's hard, it's not fair, I'm trying. All noise. Life doesn't care, the world doesn't care, the scoreboard doesn't care. Results are the only language that gets you respect. They're the proof of your work, your choices, your discipline. If you want to be remembered, you need to outwork the noise, outfocus the distractions, outbleed the quitters. You need to become so obsessed with building something real that nothing can pull you off course. It's simple. You either build something worth remembering or fade into the background like you never existed. There's no in between. Legacy is the reward for those who do what others won't, for those who kept pushing when comfort said stop, for those who let action speak louder than doubt. That's how the greats did it. And that's how you'll do it too, if you stop feeding your excuses and start feeding your result. Because at the end of your life, all that's going to matter is what you built, what you gave, and what you left behind. Everything else gets buried with you. Nobody wants to talk about sacrifice because it's not sexy. It doesn't look cool on a highlight reel. There's no applause when you're in a room alone grinding, no likes when you cut off distractions, no celebration when you say no to fun and yes to focus. But sacrifice is the real cost of greatness. People want the life, the success, the money, the respect, but they don't want to give up anything to get it. They want to be rich but keep sleeping in. They want to be strong but avoid pain. They want to win without bleeding, and that's why they stay exactly where they are. The truth is, you can't have everything. You have to choose. Every time you say yes to laziness, you say no to progress. Every time you choose comfort, you kill potential. That's the deal. Sacrifice is about trading your present comfort for future dominance. You're not supposed to enjoy the climb. It's supposed to hurt. It's supposed to test you. That's how you know it's real. That's how you know you're moving. Everyone wants to glow up, but no one wants to give up. They want the kingdom without killing the weakness inside them. It doesn't work like that. The top is reserved for those who are willing to starve while everyone else feasted. For those who bet everything and kept moving when it looked like they had nothing left. You've got to ask yourself, what are you willing to lose in order to win? Because if the answer is nothing, then expect nothing. If you're still trying to protect your comfort, your habits, your pride, you're not ready. Sacrifice is the filter. It separates the talkers from the doers. That's when things start shifting in your favor, not because the world got easier, but because you got sharper, more focused, more lethal. The ones who win don't win because they're lucky. They win because they paid a higher price. They gave up things most people are scared to live without. They missed parties, skipped sleeps, trained when they were broken, kept moving when they were broke. You look at their lives now and think, must be nice. What you don't see is the blood they spilled, the years they lost, the nights they cried alone. You want that life? You want to be untouchable? Then you better be ready to give up everything that's holding you back. No one's going to hand it to you. No one's going to feel sorry for you, and no one's going to make you sacrifice. You've got to do that yourself. You've got to look at your life and start cutting the fat. What's wasting your time? Who's draining your energy? What's stopping you from evolving into who you need to be? Find it. Destroy it. Replace it with discipline, action, precision. That's the price of admission to the next level. You either pay in advance or never get through the door. And here's the cold truth most won't admit. If you haven't sacrificed for what you want, then you don't really want it. You're still attached to your lower self, still entertaining the distractions that are keeping you broke, soft, average. When you're serious, when you're all in, you'll stop making excuses for the weight you carry. You'll drop it so you can move faster, strike harder, and rise quicker. You'll stop trying to be liked and start trying to be remembered. That's the mindset that builds empires. That's the cost most people aren't willing to pay. But if you are, then there's nothing stopping you except how much you're willing to sacrifice. Respect is a currency earned, not handed out. You don't get respect by asking for it, crying for it, or expecting it. You get it by walking into a room and making it clear through your energy, your discipline, your results, that you're not to be messed with. That presence doesn't come from noise. It comes from control. People who run their mouths all day, who argue over nonsense, who react to every insult, they're not respected. They're entertainment. Real power is quiet. It doesn't beg, it doesn't chase approval, it doesn't explain itself, it just exists, and the world adjusts accordingly. Control your reactions and you control the game. The moment someone gets you to break your frame, to yell, to snap, to defend yourself emotionally, they've already won, because they pulled you out of your power. That's what weak people thrive on. They want to trigger you so they can feel in control. But when you stay calm, when you don't flinch, When you answer disrespect with silence or facts, you flip the script, you put them on the back foot. Now they're the ones scrambling to get a reaction, and you're already 3 moves ahead. People confuse dominance with volume. They think the loudest person is the leader. That's nonsense. The one who speaks the least but moves with precision, the one who doesn't need to prove anything, that's the one everyone watches. That's the person others follow. Control over your mind, your mouth, your emotions. That's the ultimate flex. You can't rattle someone who's in command of himself. And that makes people respect you more than any threat ever could. Because they know if you do speak, it matters. If you do react, it's intentional. It's not chaos, it's calculated force. The people who lack discipline try to bait you. They'll test you with disrespect just to see if they can shake you. And if you crumble, you've confirmed what they already suspected. That you're not solid, that you're pretending. But if you stay composed, if you look them in the eye and let their words die in the air without touching your soul, they realize they picked the wrong person. They realize there's nothing they can do to break you. And that's when the power shifts. That's when they start to question themselves instead of trying to challenge you. Everyone's watching how you carry yourself. Not when things are easy, but when things are tense. When the disrespect shows up, when the haters talk, when the pressure builds, that's when your control matters most. You can't let ego run the show. You can't be triggered by every small insult. That's how average people think. That's how they live, chained to their impulses, enslaved by their emotions. You want to win? You want to rise above the noise? Then act like someone who already owns the room. Walk like your name has weight. Move like every word is a weapon you're choosing not to use. The world respects structure. When you move with discipline, when you don't react emotionally, when you stay sharp even when you're angry. That's when people start to respect your presence without you having to announce it. That's when you start playing a higher game. You don't need to scream. You don't need to clap back. Your silence is your power. Your results are your comeback. Your self-control is the warning. So every time someone disrespects you, don't let it be about them. Let it be a test of how much control you really have. Because respect doesn't come from confrontation. It comes from consistency, from proving over and over again that nothing outside of you has the power to shake what's solid inside of you. That's how respect is built. That's how real power moves. Losing is only failure when you choose not to learn from it. Most people are so afraid of losing, they never even play. They sit on the sidelines, judge others, make excuses, and wonder why life isn't giving them anything. The truth is, losing is part of the climb. It's part of the process. It's not the opposite of winning. It's a requirement. Every time you fall flat on your face, every time someone outperforms you, every time a plan doesn't work out, you're being handed information that most people never get. But weak minds don't look at losses that way. They cry, they quit, they feel sorry for themselves, and they try to protect their ego instead of sharpening their blade. When you lose, you're forced to face your flaws. That's what growth demands. You can't level up without pressure. You can't evolve while staying safe. You need friction. You need to get punched in the mouth by reality to wake up to where you're soft, where you're undisciplined, where you're lying to yourself. That pain isn't punishment, it's feedback. It's reality trying to toughen you up, to strip away your weakness, to prepare you for the next level. But most people are so wrapped up in their pride, they ignore the lesson. And that's why they keep losing the same way over and over again. You should be obsessed with learning from failure. You should analyze every misstep like a scientist. What went wrong? Why did it happen? What can I do differently next time? That mindset is what separates winners from the forgotten. It's not just about bouncing back. Anyone can recover. It's about rising with more knowledge, more precision, more strategy. That's how you make losing work for you. That's how you use the pain as fuel instead of letting it poison your drive. People who never lose are usually the ones who never take risks. They never test themselves. They stay safe, hidden, average. But they also stay stagnant. You want real power? You want to move different? Then you better be ready to lose in public, to fall down while everyone's watching, to be doubted, mocked, criticized, and still get back up. Not out of delusion, but because you understand that every L carries the DNA of your future W. The world doesn't belong to the person who never fails. It belongs to the one who keeps coming back, smarter, stronger, and more relentless than before. There's a reason the most successful people have the most failure stories. It's not a coincidence. It's because they've been in the fire more times than anyone else. They've built calluses on their mind. They've trained themselves to remain focused while everything's falling apart. They don't get emotional about losing. They get analytical. They get curious. And then they get better. Every loss becomes a blueprint. Every setback becomes a tool. And over time, all that data stacks up into something dangerous: wisdom. You've got to kill your fear of losing if you ever want to dominate. You've got to detach your identity from your results. You're not your losses. You're not your wins either. You're the weapon that gets sharper with every cut. You're the machine that doesn't stop just because something didn't go your way. So stop trying to avoid losses. Start welcoming them. Start chasing environments that challenge you. That's how you grow. That's how you separate from the pack. Let everyone else stay scared. Let them hide. You walk into the arena, take your hits, learn fast, and come back swinging harder. Because in the end, the one who learns the fastest wins the longest. Look around you. The world isn't waiting. It's moving fast. And it doesn't care about your dreams, your struggles, or your excuses. If you're not stacking your value, building your empire, and chasing wealth with ruthless precision, you're fading into irrelevance. This isn't about greed. This is about survival, power, influence, freedom. None of it comes without money. You either control your life or you get controlled by someone who does. The broke man's opinion gets ignored. His pain gets overlooked. His potential gets buried under bills and wasted time. But the rich man, he makes the rules. He decides the pace. He lives on his terms. So wake up, get focused, cut the noise. Your time is now. Get rich or be forgotten. Because in this world, comfort is the biggest trap and mediocrity is the silent killer. Only the bold, the disciplined, and the obsessed rise. Be one of them.